We're going to see now, Be'ez Hashem is barred of Lamed Hey Omed Beis, and we're going to go further into dive deeper into the halachas of Yayin Nesach, how it works. Pshita da milsa. This is for sure. Yisrael toifes b'fia mashpech. A Jew is holding the mouth of the funnel. V'anochri ma'ara, and then guy is he's pouring in the wine from a barrel into a bottle. Divrakul aser. For sure, if the guy, his action, he pours, for sure the wine is aser. How about nochri toifes b'mashpech Yisrael ma'ara? The other way around. The guy is holding the funnel, it shouldn't tilt, and the Jew is the one that pours it from the barrel into the bottle. Reb Asa oiser, Reb Amma mater. So machlokes is Reb Asa and Reb Amma. What's the halacha? The two Talmidim of Rabbi Yochanan. Nachri toifet b'fi anoid. Now we're going to a little bit different. Instead of a bottle, we're using here a jug that's made out of leather. Leather is called a noid, and it has a certain opening, and you need to pour from a barrel into that leather pouch. Rabbi Yami b'shem Rabbi Zeira hiya machlokes. He says the same argument of Amar Reb Asa, the same story. If we say that Nachri toifes, the guy is holding the mouth, the opening, it shouldn't move around. So it's the same shaila like the guy is holding the funnel that we just had before. Machlokes Reb Amma and Reb Asa. We just said it before. How about Yisrael toifes benoid? Nochimara. The Jew is holding the pianoid. He's holding the opening of the leather bag to make sure the wine doesn't fall outside. But the guy is the one that's spilling it from the barrel. They thought that everybody agrees it's mutter, because I guess that it's a very tedious job to hold the opening of the leather, so we can consider it like the Jew is doing the main work here. No, for sure it's aser. Kol garma means kol atzmoy. It's garma means bone, etzem. Kol etzem means for sure it's aser. Don't even think otherwise. Sometimes the Jew doesn't hold the tight. He lets his hand loose, and then everything comes from the guy's power. So I don't know exactly how they hold the jug and how they hold the leather, so I cannot explain it to you 100%, but I'm just trying to imagine that it means that the Jew is not doing any work, so then we say that the guy is doing the whole job. Now we go to a different case. Morago zika, somebody who tilts. Morago means tilts. It's interesting language, Aramaic language that is found very rarely, but is found some places. In Targum Yerushalmi, and other Targumim that are written through the Chachmei Eretz Yisrael. They use a certain Aramaic that's not used in Bavli. So this is the word is meragel. It tilts. Zika we had before means a jug, a leather jug. Me'el lera, from top to bottom. So what does this mean? It means, this is borrowed language. So what it's talking here is that a goy is carrying it's again assumption. I'm not clear what it means, but assuming here that means like this: the Jew is holding you're talking about a leather pouch. The Jew is putting the mouth into a glass bottle, and the guy is just tilting it, helping that the wine should come down. So it's not considered that the guy is making an irui. That's what it means. Not clear, but assuming that's loy nikra. Nikra iri nachri sha'oiser. Yayin Nesach. We're going up to the next Mishnah. Yayin Nesach, Mishnah says a new halacha here. Yayin Nesach. Osir va'oiser b'kolshu. It's osir, and it makes everything osir, even a drop. Yayin b'yayin, and mayim b'mayim b'kolshu. So we're assuming here there's such a concept that's called water that becomes osir. Some people pour water for the Zarah. So if water that's osir falls into water that's mutter, the same story, it's osir. However, yayin b'mayim and mayim b'yayin, and listen, Tom. If wine falls into water, yayin nesach, or mayim, water that's no good, falls into wine, then listen, Tom. Then we have to see if that thing that's no good gives a taste in the other. So by water, if you taste water, by wine, if you taste the wine. Ze'aklal. General rule. Min b'mina kolshu, shalai b'mina b'naisan tam. Okay, Chizkiya Omer. Chizkiya says, Mayin b'yayin b'naisan tam. If water falls into wine, b'naisan tam. The water that's osir, right? Very interesting statement. Hadodat Omer b'mokim she'ena mayim l'kohen b'midah, where water is not sold with a measurement. Water is very cheap. Hamokim she'ena mayim l'kohen b'midah kiyayin b'yayin heim. If water that's osir falls into wine, it's like considered like wine fell into wine, because water is very chashiv. It's just like wine, and it's a very amazing statement. It should mean that since the water comes to make the wine taste better, because in those days people did not drink usually raw wine, yayin chai. It was always added water. So the water is here to make the wine tastier. So it's considered like wine fell into wine. So again, we're talking about water that's osir, that fell into wine. It's considered like wine fell into wine, and even a kol shehu makes it osir. This is what Chizkiya says. Now we go to a new statement of Chizkiya. It says like this. Chizkiya Omer. Chizkiya says, Kois shemazgoi, a cup that you poured, me'isser meheter. It's an ambiguous statement, but I think the right meaning is here is they put in, there's three ingredients in this cup. There's yayin nesach, and regular wine, and water. Isser veheter means wine that's isser, and wine that's heter, and water. Water, assuming here, we're talking about water that's mutter. We're not talking here about water that's nesach, because that's not a common thing here. So obviously the story goes, you had three ingredients in this cup. There's yayin nesach, yayin heter, and water. So let's see what Chizkiya says. If the last ingredient is the isser, in this case the yayin nesach fell the last one, asser. However, if the last thing that fell in was the heter. So what does this mean exactly? Again, it's speculation, but I think it means im nafal heter yayin oy mayim besoif. Doesn't really matter what fell in the end. Either the water that's mutter or the wine that's mutter. Since the last ingredient is the mutterdige object, then we say no problem. No problem. As long as the isser was not the last one, that's like the last thing has a koyach, has a power to overpower. So if you say if the last item was not isser, it was either was the mayim heter or the yayin heter, not a problem. Blez is the one that says, in a different context, that we by talking about teruma and chum that fell into the sourdough. So we say that go after the last one. That he says this fact that if the last thing was isser, it's a problem. However, Aval Rabbanon afilu nafel isser besoif kimesh yesh mei heter roival yayin shel isser shapadam. The Rabbanon would say, I don't care, the order doesn't matter. The main thing is we have to know what's the principle in this whole story, that the water can be mevatel the wine shel iser, because wine cannot be mevatel wine because it's min b'minoi, right? So what do we use? We use the water. One of the ingredients of this whole mixture is water, right? So let's say you have wine. There's 5 ounces of wine, Yayin Nesach, and you have 15 ounces of heter wine and 8 ounces of water. So it's irrelevant. The wine shall heter. That cannot do anything. That's useless. The point is how much water did you put in, and that water of the heter, that will nullify the Yayin Nesach. So according to Rabbanan, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what came first, what came last. The water can nullify the wine. No, could be the Rabbanan agree to this statement of Chizkiah because we're more stringent by Yayin Nesach, we're more machmer, and you have to have the heter falling in. The Issa cannot fall in the last. Rabbi Yossi asked the question. I don't understand what he's saying. Im chomer hu be Yayin Nesach afil no heter besoif yehei aser. I mean, you want to say just you're machmer, so be machmer fully. I mean, you don't have any logical reason. So you say that according to Rabbanan, they will agree here. But if they will agree, they should agree even that you want to be so strict, be strict fully. Don't make any limitations. Even if the heter falls in, Basoif should be usher. So LMI is trying to say you can't make up new rules. And if according to Rabbanan, it's not a problem, it doesn't matter what comes first, what comes last, in other areas of the Torah. So the same thing here, we should not make an issue, according to Rabbanan, what comes first. If the wine of Isser, even if the wine of Isser came last, it's also not a problem. Rabbi says like this. So now we're reviewing this same story like before. You had wine of Nesach and wine from Heter, and then you have water. Atroyas Heter kimisha einoi ve'Isser im yesh boy b'nisan tam aser. So we have to just focus on these two things. You have 1 ounce of Isser. It's totally irrelevant what's the amount of the wine of Heter. How much Isser do you have? You have 1 ounce of Yayin Nesach, right? And how many ounces of water do you have? You have 7 ounces of water. Can 1 ounce of wine give a taste in 7 ounces of water? No. You can drink it. So he again says, no. To the same like we said before. Chizkiah said that, right? It's a slightly different because Chizkiah said Nofel Iser B'Soif. He says the heter has to fall B'Soif. I don't know. We could argue that means the heter of the water, but it's here. The issue is here that mathematically speaking, there's 3 stuff. That's how I put it down on the paper. There's A, B, and C, right? So A can be, let's say, the wine of Isser, B is the wine of Heter, and C is the water. So we can make, according to mathematics, 6 different combinations, what came first and what came last. And some of them is not so clear. It's ambiguous, so we don't know this problem here. What means Heter B'Soif? Does it mean the water? Or does it mean the wine of Heter? In our language, it means B or C. So everybody should try to decide on their own what their logic says. He says it doesn't matter. I said before already. Rabbi says that doesn't matter. The order doesn't matter. Now he says afila mayim beyayin. Another chiddush. He says that even water fell into wine. So the chiddush is lamina kama bottle. These words are very, I don't know. I'm gonna put extra because it doesn't go with the flow of the Gemara, but it sounds it's trying to say even water fell into wine, so we don't say kama bottle. Like every drop of water should become bottle in the Yayin Nesach. I don't know. It's it's not clear from the. It's like very short and not explaining himself. Now he's saying another statement, also unclear. Afila nimza kol tzarke meheter. Kaloim eseder advarim heter mayim iser v'shuv loy bo mayim. Nimza kol tzarke meheter means that wine, water, and the iser came the last, and no water came afterwards. So the iser is the last without any water following it. That's it. Simlev, I wrote in the end, the Chseder Achi Toiv, it sounds from this Gemara, it's very, very short, and there's a lot of speculation here you can make, a lot of pshatim, but I just summarized from this Gemara, the best order would be Heter, Iser, Mayim. If the Heter is first, and then comes the Iser, and then comes the water. Why? In such a case, the water is the Heter, and also the Iser is not the first. We don't say that kama bottle, because if the Iser is first, and then water, so every drop of water becomes bottle. So we have already Heter. Let's say we have already 10 ounces of kosher wine. Then we have another, let's say 2 ounces of Iser. So, and then we have water. This theoretically, this should be the best case that it shouldn't be, it's in all these, as you said, there's 6 combinations you can make it, this should be the best combination. So this language here is whatever is said lamaila, means this whole sugya that we just said till now, and all the tanoim that we bought. How should we do lamaisa? You brought down so many different halachas here. What should we do? Yayin Nesach, shenafel chav shel yayin, achnafel techbay shel mayim, truest het mishnei, isa yish mishtam also nav mutter. So this is the case where it's for sure okay. That what you had Yayin Nesach, it fell into kosher wine. This is the case what I just said before, the best order. So this is what we end up here with, the upshot of this whole sugya. There's so many different cases, and he's asking, Abzeir is asking after the whole sugya, Kol ma shesheninu l'ma'ala. I'm going to translate it in Lashon Kodesh. Kol ma shesheninu. Kol ma shesheninu l'ma'ala. Chol hatanoim shehevenu besugyan ma oisem lemaisa. That's a question. What do we do lemaisa? That's the end of the sugya. Okay, this is the end of Daf Lamed Gimel Amud Beis.